Now I would request Mr. K. Hemprasad, Council Member, Chennai Chapter IIF, to introduce our fourth speaker of the day, Mr. Pritesh Kumar, Manager, Application Engineering, Greensand, Foseco India Private Limited.
So good afternoon to one and all present here. It's my immense pleasure to introduce today's fourth speaker, Mr. Pritesh Kumar. He is graduated from mechanical engineering and currently pursuing his postgraduate diploma in business management, specialized in operation management. He is having 12 years of foundry working experience, both in iron and steel foundries across various departments like production, process control, and quality assurance. Currently, he is working with Foseco India from 2017 in Greensand system as product application engineer. He is associated with Pan-India projects. His work includes projects, troubleshooting, technical services, process audits, customization of products, etc. He is having a more hands-on experience in all available molding machines and Greensand system required for all grades of metals. He is specialized in chemically bonded sand system and its applications. Now his floor is yours, sir. Thank you.
So, good afternoon all fellow Foundrymen, and I am very thankful to IIF Chennai chapter for giving me this opportunity for today's presentation on the Greensand system. And basically today's topic is, I am directly jumping to the topic because already we have lost 3, 4, 5 minutes. So, the factors affecting the quality of the Greensand mold. So, basically we all know that the external features of the casting depends on the Greensand mold. So, whatever the external features of the casting, like the surface finish or the defects related with that, basically depends on the quality of the mold. So, it is not wrong to say that any high quality castings begins with a high quality mold. Until you are having a high quality mold, you are not going to get a good quality mold, a good quality casting. So this actually what happens in the molding, like everybody knows. There are 5 ingredients, that is return sand, new sand, then there will be bentonite water and bento coal, and these are mixed in a mixer, and you are going to get a homogeneous mixer from the homogeneous sand mix from the mixer, and that is going through the molding station. And there you are going, and during the transportation from this molding mixer to the molding station, moisture loss used to happen. And with that, you are going to get a well compacted mold after the compaction happens at the molding machine. So basically, mold is basically a mold is not a mold unless it is compacted. So before compaction, it is a prepared sand itself. So after compaction only, you are going to get a mold. So basically, in the next 20-25 minutes, we are going to talk on the quality of the molds. So let's come to the topic that factors affecting the quality of Greensand molds. So basically I have taken here that 8 factors. First one is return sand quality, quality of additives, additive addition rate, mixer health, then molding machine condition, then appropriate mold releasing agent which is required, then sand lab capability and process control. So basically we are going to see for next in the next subsequent slides on these 8 topics. There will be some more points also. But time was a constraint, so I have taken these 8 points. So let's talk about the return sand. So like everybody knows that you already, means if you see the prepared sand, it is around more than 95% or around 95% of your sand is the return sand only. But when coming to the checking of the quality of return sand, sometimes we are lagging in that. We are very much active in checking the properties of our prepared sand, but for return sand we are lagging. So the first thing is we should always check our return sand properties. This is the point where then only we can decide how much addition should be added in the system. Like when we are going to the doctors, many times they are giving directly to the medicines, but sometimes they suggest for going for the tests, like blood test or many type of tests, and on that basis they used to suggest. Similarly, if we are having any issues, then definitely we should check the return sand quality, and in between also means that frequency can be decided as by the foundryman and or respected foundry, and they should check the return sand properties, and on that basis they should consider the addition. Means they should not blindly add what has been set, like 5 kg of bentonite or 2 kg of bento coal they are adding and running. It should not be done. It should be decided on the basis of return sand properties. Then return sand storage. This is also a big debatable topic used to happen in the foundries. Like foundries are going for expansion. They are putting another line, and that is going on. That is very good for foundry industry, that the way we are growing. But we should always also consider the return sand storage part. Because we are keeping the place for returns for a new molding machine, and we are keeping the place for for future expansion the new mixers. But we are not, sometimes we are not considering about the silos part. So it should be considered. Why? The first thing is number of sand cycles. When your production will increase, definitely your sand cycle is going to increase. And if your sand cycle, number of sand cycle per day will increase, then it is going to affect your entire sand system. So this should be taken care while you are planning the plan. And in between also, means whatever the things you are running, you should always keep this also a very important point as a storage. And regarding then the return sand temperature, so in the next slide I am having a detailed discussion on that return sand temperature. Then fines accumulation. So obviously regarding like whenever this sand cycle will increase, so basically what is sand cycle? The storage you have, like if you have a storage capacity of 80 ton and you are preparing per day a sand of around 240 tons. So it's basically a 4 sand cycle per day. Means entire sand cycle, how much it is rotating in the sand system. So that is called sand cycles. So when these sand cycles will increase, obviously burning of sand will more happen, and that will create more fines in the system, which is not required. And these fines are basically dead part. So if you are increasing the things, then you have to add the required things to compensate those effects. Like you can put DES, that is dust extraction system, and then while putting dust extraction system also, you have to see that how you can control the things which is going out. So frequently, means not every day, but at least every 15 days, 20 days, you should check the fines which is going out. What is active clay, what is LOI, VM, because it might be possible that if the suction pressure will be high, then it might be possible that the things it will suck more, and more active ingredient of your sand system will go out. So you have to consider, and if the things are going more, then you have to play with the suction pressure, or you can play with the baffle plate which is there for sucking the things. So in that way, and there are fifth factor which is not in our control. So there are 4 or 5 factors which are not in our control, means Foundrymen cannot do anything on that. Like casting section thickness. You don't have any control, means whatever the design will come, you are going to manufacture according to that. But that affects the sand quality, especially return sand. And sometimes what happens that currently you are running with a very high bunch weight, that which is having a sand to metal ratio of 1:5, and just after this, you are going to run is to 1:8. So this thing happens in the foundry, but this is not in control. Similarly, we have pouring temperatures. So if the casting thickness is less, then we are going for a higher temperature, and if the casting thickness is more, then we are going for a slightly lower temperature. So these all factors which are not in our control, it also plays a very much important role in having a quality of return sand. So like I already told regarding the temperature part, so what are the consequences of return sand temperature? Prepared sand temperature analysis. One thing I want to add here is that whenever, whatever be the return sand temperature, after mixing, the temperature of prepared sand is going to go on the slightly higher side, maybe 3 to 5 degrees Celsius. So you can, means that correlate also how much it is increasing, but it should be in the range, generally it used to be in the range of 3 to 5 degree. So if your prepared sand temperature is around 38 degrees Celsius, you have a very good condition for making the molds. Your molds will be very stable, your properties of mold will be very good, and you will get the very good result from that mold. Similarly, if this means that your return sand temperature should be around 34-35 degrees Celsius. But in Chennai that is not possible. So obviously you have to play with ambient plus 5, but this is the best, or this is the optimum condition it should happen. If it is happening, it is very good. Similarly, the temperature, if the prepared sand temperature is around 60 degrees Celsius, then your molds will be more friable. And then at that time defects can come, and means it cannot be controlled. And if the returns and prepared sand temperature is around 70 degrees Celsius, then it will be very difficult to run the molding machine. Means if mostly you will face the mold broken and other things, and it is better that you should stop molding at that time if your prepared sand temperature is around 70 degrees Celsius. So now what should be the ambient thing, but that up to where we can play. So that is basically the thing is maximum temperature is 50 degrees Celsius. Until that, so will be around 45 to 46 if your return sand temperature is up to. Then it is okay, you can run up to that temperature level the molding. And if it is going beyond that, then you have to look on the controlling part. And what are the normal ways of cooling? So like these are the multiple silos. So for cooling of the return sand, you can increase the silos. You can your cooler should work effectively. Many times cooler are there in foundries, but it is not working effectively. And the third one is water sprinklers. So you can add, if after that also the control is not happening, then you can add water sprinklers at multiple locations as per after studying the foundry layout, and you can do that. And just one harsh line I want to add here is that there is no solution to hot sand. Means this is very clear. If you think that hot sand is there, and if anybody comes and he is telling you that we can do this, there is no solution for hot sand apart from you are going to cool it. So let's have a look on the process factors. So basically the first one is mixer health and mixing cycle. So regarding mixer health, what I want to highlight here is you should not go for new mixer every year, that is not possible, but you should maintain it. Means like what the manufacturer has recommended, like they used to recommend the gap size between molding machine, gap between the scraper and the wear plate. Similarly, they used to give the cleaning frequency, but like cleaning is a very missing thing in the foundries, especially the mixer. So this should be done, whatever the manufacturer has recommended. Similarly, the mixing cycle. So like basically what two parts are there in mixing cycle, that is dry cycle and wet cycle. So you should optimize what you are doing. It should not be done that somebody has told we should increase our dry cycle from 15 to 20 seconds and then we should do. If you are doing that, means somebody has advised on his experience, if you are implementing that, you should justify that. You should see how the properties are going. Is your GCS is going up? Is your other properties are going up or down? If it is going down, then what is the issue? Sometimes what happens, if you will increase the dry cycle, then what happens that leakages used to happen. And especially the additives like bentonite or bentocol, what you are adding is a very light material. It will fly from the mixer because of the leakages. So you have to arrest that part also. It should not happen. You have to control that part. Now the molding machine condition and capacity. So similarly, molding machine condition should also be looked, especially the alignment part. Is there any jerk is there or not? Similar type of things you have to look that if any issues are there or not. Because these issues can in long run can lead to mold broken issues. And the capacity part is very important. Like manufacturer used to always give, you have to maintain this much bunch weight for this type of molding line, like 45, 50 kg or whatever XYZ. So you should be always below 5% what manufacturer has recommended. Don't try to go beyond that. It is always advisable. Otherwise, it is going maybe first 200 or first 500 or first 1000 molds you are going to get. But afterwards, it is going to hurt. And then similarly, the side wall thickness. It's like manufacturer used to recommend that it should be 50 or 20 mm. You should add 5 mm from yourself and don't play in the critical areas. So now what should be the sand lab capability? So there are basically three things. Testing facility. Now in that also two parts is there. One is a new foundry is coming, which is coming with a new lab setup and every equipments are coming new. So they are doing good. But what happened with the old foundries which are already there? So they also have to think on upgrading the equipments. Like one thing, testing facility I want to highlight here is like one testing earlier we used to do is Saturn index, which is basically related with the toughness of the mold. And earlier we were mostly running with the ARPA molds. So ARPA molds used to get handled more by the crane after molding. So that test is related with that toughness of the handling of the mold. But nowadays in the automatic line, all the molds are directly going into the pouring bay without any handling. So that test is not required. But now these flaskless lines has come. So in the flaskless lines, you have to see that especially the WTS part. That testing is very important. So you have to update your lab. That is the thing. Then second is frequency of testing. So this also question is a debatable subject, which many foundries used to do. It should be done or hourly or as if your number of pattern changes is very high, means more than if 8 hours you are changing more than 8, then at least you should do per pattern. So this type of a standard you should maintain that how to fix the frequency. Similarly, the LOI, in properties also there are two parts, that is the stage properties and system properties. Stage properties is basically what you are checking, that GCS and other things, and system properties is that is active clay, LOI and VM. So sometimes it is not possible nowadays we are running with that, with the production capacity. So it should be studied and on that basis this frequency should be set. And many times, especially in small foundries, this only just data filling is happening. This is very wrong. Means if you are not doing the test, then you should not, especially this sand lab area. Means other areas people are using, especially this micro and all, they are testing everything. But this part is slightly neglected in smaller foundries. So if you are doing, then it is not good. You should test whatever the testing is required or what testing has been assigned. Similarly, the lab analyst, the person who is testing, he should be capable. Like he should know if anything happens, then whom to connect. Like if the GCS is going low, then whom to tell. He should not sit with the just reports idly and just testing the things and keeping the reports with him. He should inform, and those parameters should be clear to him. If anything happens, then whom he has to report. Then expectations from a mold releasing agent. So basically why we are using mold releasing agent. So always when compaction happens on the pattern, then there is a resistance while stripping happens. To ease out that resistance, we are spraying the mold releasing agent for a proper and good stripping of the mold from the pattern. So there are many expectations from mold releasing agent, but and this is also happening that sometimes people are using some types of oil and all. So you should not use that type of thing. Whatever the recommended mold releasing agents are available in the market, you should go with that. And what should be the requirements, expectations, that is the minimum build-up area. Like it should form a minimum film on the pattern, and you should get maximum number of strips. From one, like you applied once, you should at least get 3 to 4 strips per application. So that type of thing should happen, so that minimal, because this is in moisture form. Ultimately, if you will apply more, then it can affect the mold quality on the surface especially. So, and it should be lower scrap rate. Obviously, if you have mold broken issue and other things, it should be addressed by it. Then the third is higher productivity. Obviously, if your this mold scrap rate will reduce, then your productivity will go up, because once a mold breaks in the molding machine, then everybody knows that how much it affects. And the consistent, the product you are buying, it should be consistent. And one thing I want to highlight, that we also have a product in this range, that is Saprol GSM, and Saprol stands for Foseco's releasing agents, and GSM stands for green sand mold. So special parting agent we have for this, that is Saprol GSM. So now we will come to the additive part. So let's talk on the bentonite. Like if you, many times it is happening that you are not going for the, means if you are not getting GCS, you are just increasing the bentonite. It is not correct. You have to see why you are not getting the correct GCS. Like many times it is happening. Means I had one discussion long back with one of my customer. Like they were telling me, I have increased the bentonite addition, but our this GCS is not going up. Active clay is going up, but GCS is not going. Then what is the reason? And obviously it is surprising. If you are increasing the addition, then your GCS should go up. Then I asked them, do you have any hot sand issues? Then he told me, yes, last from 10 days we are not working with the coolers. And because of that, the temperature is going up. Now what happens that during the transfer of sand from the mixer to the molding machine, your moisture loss is happening very much, and because of that, the required GCS, what is supposed to you should supposed to get at the molding machine, it is not happening. So similarly, there are many, with the increased addition, what is going to happen? Like the moisture demand of the system will go up. Then you will face poor peel-off, because the active flow is on the higher side. The peel-off will go down, and similarly, it will affect the sand flowability. And similarly, if the addition will be decreased, then you will have poor strength development, then mold friability, and ultimately mold broken issue will happen. Now, what are the expectations from the carbonaceous additive? So everybody is adding she coal, coal dust, or like we have a product called bento coal. So whatever the carbonaceous additive you are adding, there are some expectations from that. So the first expectation from that carbonaceous additive is the surface finish. So if you are adding a proper carbonaceous additive, your surface finish should improve. Then second is the improvement in sand peel-off. So your sand peel-off should also go in a good in a good way. You should means all the sand should go in the back in the silos. Then the third is reduction in salt blast time. So obviously, if you will achieve the first 2 points, the third point will automatically get achieved. And the fourth one is reduction in sand and gas related rejection. So especially gas related rejection is an attribute of your carbonaceous additive, and sand related rejection is an attribute of application expertise. So with that, you can expect that. And fifth one is the optimized additive. So if you are achieving all the 4 points, then only you should work on the fifth point. Means it should not be that you are facing some issues and after that you want that my addition should be optimized. First, you should always consider that how you can improve your casting quality, and then you can work on the addition optimization. So, and one more thing related with the carbonaceous additive you are adding, I want to highlight, that is the sulfur content. If you are a SGR and foundries, you should look on the sulfur content of the carbonaceous additive you are adding, because this is going to get added in your entire sand system. And because I have seen in last, I think 3 months before, I have seen one foundry, they know that they are unable to, because that global nodules are required, because I'm not a metallurgical person, but just what I got information, but at the skin, they are going only flake. And they are aware that they are going to produce the rejection, but they have to produce so that they can reduce that sulfur level in the entire sand system. So you should always consider, especially the SGR and foundries, the sulfur content of your carbonaceous additive, what you are adding, because this is going to get interpreted in the sand. So this is basically the summaries of today, what I have highlighted in last 20-25 minutes. And so all the slides is there. And after that, I will come that how should foundries go with the with the additive supplier. So you should always believe in, like Bala Vijayan in the morning was telling, you should always go in a solution buying mode. It should not be only a product buying. So these are the 4 things you should always see when you are buying any additive. Like your sand system should be established by them. Then they should provide you the proper training and other things. Then you should get the application support and the product. Then what is CDR? Basically, CDR stands for coal dust replacement, and we call bento coal as a CDR, that is coal dust, and bento coal is basically a customized engineered carbonaceous additive in powder form, which is required for getting a good surface finish or optimum surface finish casting for iron foundries. So now, what is the Foseco ways of working on green sand project? So first, we not only with the product, but with the product, we help customers in establishing their green sand system. And then if any trainings are required, then we used to help them in providing trainings. Then sand testing services. So obviously the system properties we are testing, we have 2 testing labs, that is one is in Pondi and one is in Pune. So as near to the customer, we are doing that services also. And then analytical testing services. Like already I highlighted sulfur content. So these type of testers, or not only sulfur, like recently one of the customers has asked for the sulfur trioxide. So, which was not available with our regular, because the sulfur content we are testing it from outside NABL accredited lab. We don't have in-house testing facility. So we have connected connected with one testing facility from Delhi, and then we have given them the test result. So these type of helps we used to do on testing this. Apart from regular testing, we are providing these tests also. And the periodic process audit. So if required, we can help them in doing their process audit, and whatever the improvement points are there, we can suggest them. And if required, we can work out together. So with that, I want to thank you all for hearing me patiently. And if any question is there, then I am open for that. And
for return sand, what would be the temperature and moisture percentage?
Temperature, it means if you are getting around 35 degrees Celsius, that is best.
Return sand.
Return sand.
35 degrees.
35 degree. That is not possible, I know that, but you told optimum condition, so this is the ideal condition you should have. But in moisture percentage will be around 1 to 1.8 approximately. Yes.
Good question.
What is the optimum temperature drop expected from multicolor to mixer, and what is the condition of return sand where we have to reject, because we cannot do it. Sometimes we have a low sand to metal ratio.
Like on second question, the properties part, if your total clay is on the higher side, or you have slightly on the higher side dead clay part, then you should think on adding new sand, or removing the old sand and then add new sand. That type of particular things you have to do. Regarding the first question, I didn't get, sir. Again, you.
Minimum temperature drop between multicolor to mixer. Suppose the temperature is coming, generally we can get 60. You are saying optimum 35, we don't never achieve. So from there to mixer, the efficiency of the multicolor, how much is expected of the?
Sir, for cooler, it should be ambient plus 5. What output you are getting from cooler, it should be ambient plus 5. This is practical value, and it can be it should be achieved, and it can be achieved from the cooler. And that is going in the silos of further 1-2 degree reduction in temperature will happen. because you cannot work below ambient. What is the ambient that is there? So ambient plus 5, it is acceptable if you are getting output from cooler.
Do you suggest any coating for the mold, greens and mold?
No, we don't suggest, sir. Means we believe in that with the carbonaceous additive you are adding, you should get the optimum surface finish required with the green sand mold.
Regarding return sand properties, you are saying we are lagging in return sand analyzing and very well in prepared sand. So, in an automated sand cycle system, we are running with a different sand to metal ratio from 1:3.5 to 1:6 or 7 or something. So, in return sand, can we calculate? Now we are running at suppose we are running at 3.5 sand, 1:3.5 sand to metal ratio, but the return sand level is maybe 7 or 1:7 in the condition. Or if you are running at 1:7, in the return sand is 1:3.5. Are you having any methodology to verify the return sand, the frequent methods?
Sir, your planning you have to adjust in that accordingly. That is the thing you can do best. Because I already highlighted this point under measures not under control. So what control you can do, the planning you can adjust that. Your planning should be you are running for simultaneous time for the same sand to metal ratio. That is the best thing you can do for running your production effectively. Like already you have orders, so particular this 1:3 or 1:4 sand to metal ratio, you have some orders, and then so accordingly you try to adjust. But that is not getting considered. Means I have not seen any foundries which considering this part. But if it is considered, it is going to improve your returns and health, you can say.
How to control the friability?
Friability.
Yeah.
Sir, you have to control the temperature, because this friability, what I have highlighted, that is because of the high temperature issue of the return sand. So you have to act on the return sand temperature, because ultimately from the mixer, the temperature is going slightly 3 to 5 degrees Celsius higher from what you are putting the return sand inside.
That is normal way. In extraordinary cases, I have a peculiar issue. The sand temperature is under control, but I have to pour at a prolonged stage of the mold after making the mold. That time the sand is more friable.
Then we have to look on that particular case, sir, one to one.
That is the answer. Everybody knows that. Do you have anything to add in the green sand system so that it brings or it controls or it retains the moisture?
We have to see that how your additives you are adding and how because this friability is happening because moisture is going. Then why things are happening? If your molding is waiting more, sometimes this also happens. Because of that also if mold waiting for the metal is more, then also your mold will get this dried and the friability will happen.
I'm telling, do you have anything to control the friability?
Yes, sir.
Do you have anything to control the friability? This I cannot change, what I said. The mold making to pouring I cannot change as of now. But my defects are going up because of the sand friability.
This I have to see, sir, one-to-one case. Means I cannot from here, I cannot judge. Means
you cannot judge that, I can understand. But the defects, what I am facing with the related to sand, mold making to pouring is, I think many of the foundry engineers, it will be a shock to them. After making the mold, after 2 hours only I am pouring. That is the condition.
So this should be worked out, sir.
So that is the reason I am asking, do you have anything to add to control the friability?
Sir, in green sand,
my suggestion is I request Foseco to do some experiment on this side and then come back.
Okay, I will look on this, what advice you have given, and we'll come back to you, sir, on that.
In practice, high pressure molding, what is the limit of CDR that you use, and what is the limit of LOI that you recommend for a green sand system?
These are typical values. What I was going to tell means it might be possible that it is not going to apply. But high pressure molding line, first of all, there are 3 types of line. One is flaskless and one is flask lines. If flask lines are there, your bunch weight is higher. So you have to slightly maintain the LOI VM on the higher side, because you are making big castings, and you need good cushioning between metal and mold so that your metal will not interact with the mold. Similarly, with the flaskless line, you have to maintain it on the lower side. You cannot compare the flaskless and flask line at the same level.
what is the max CDR you can go to? How much your
Means at any condition, if your CDR consumption is going more than 0.4 or if it is bigger casting up to 0.45, then it is means currently that is not means that is the maximum level I can say. But foundries are running with 0.2, 0.3 also, but this is the maximum level I have highlighted, sir.
I think that let this be the last question for this session, and then we can move on.
How to control fines? My destinator in the extraction system is good well condition, but fines not controlled.
Extraction is good, then you have to see on the suction pressure, sir. What the suction pressure is getting applied from the dust extraction system. It is working or not, means how is the suction from there. If fines again after that also it is going, then this means there is some issue with the dust extraction system. Then the means a layman thing you can do, you can provide some fans and all, but that is not officially recommended. But before that suction you are providing, you can provide some fans and all, and that also can improve the things. But this is not officially recommended, just because in Foundry we are doing many things.
Well, thank you all for your lovely questions. Thank you, sir. An energetic presentation from an energetic man. So now I would like to call Mr. E. Selvan, Council Member, Southern Region IAF, to felicitate and give a memento to Mr. Pritesh Kumar.